Yes, do that. And now Laura. Give Laura a big round of applause. Laura is I had to write this down because I'm losing my mind, but she's a licensed clinical social worker and also just a wealth of knowledge about lots of things in general, but she owns her own practice up on the hill. Serenity. I know. I knew that, but I just didn't get so nervous. And that's all.
Is the mic on? Okay, I hear it. All right. So, how are you guys tonight? Everybody doing okay? Coming into air conditioning after it's been hot outside, right? Okay. I'm glad you guys came, even though it's so lovely out there. Oh my gosh. So, when Lauren asked me if I would speak, I asked her, I said, okay, what do you want me to talk about? There's a whole long list of things that we could kind of build up or anything. And one of the common things that we talk about is boundaries. So, does anybody know what boundaries are? Anybody know? Okay. So it looks like something we struggle with, maybe, perhaps? Would like to learn about boundaries. And then we talked about a few other things. We'll try and incorporate a lot of this. I've done different trainings, and I've come back and heard about different people that were triggered with things, and feeling kind of upset, or it brought up some things that were really difficult. So I want to start with, if there's anything that touches your heart and you feel like you need, you're hurting, or it brings up hurts, or you feel like you need to talk to somebody, please don't sit on it. Don't sit on it. Talk to me, talk to one of the staff, talk to your group leader. Please talk about it. Don't go home with it and just sit and let it stew and just kind of start building and create all these negative thoughts and everything, okay? So I really want to make that sure. I did a training a little while ago and it really triggered some folks on things. So I want to make sure that I address that. And it doesn't mean it's going to be all deep and hard and everything, but I just want to tell you, okay? And then our topic is flourish for this year. Does everybody kind of remember that? Or, we call flourish, got it. So when thinking about women flourishing, one of the things that will frequently cross my mind is relationships. Okay? This could be relationships between women, relationships with your spouse or your partner, relationships with your children, with your neighbor, just relationships in general. We often hear people say that women tend to be more social creatures. Have you guys ever heard that? Women are more social, and men are more kind of solo. They have studies that have shown that when kids are little, they'll take a look at that. It seems so weird you guys are here and you guys are here. We're ready to have a competition. Whenever kids are little, they'll study boys, and boys sit side by side, and they just play independently of each other. And girls, they're more interacting. They're playing dolls with each other, or they're talking to each other, or things like that. It can be magnified in either direction if somebody is an extrovert or an introvert. Do you know what an extrovert or an introvert are? Does anybody wonder about that? An extrovert is somebody who's energized by being around people. And my family would look and go, that's mom. If I'm alone too long, like for a few days, everybody's on vacation, everybody's gone, I'm alone, and I can really get depressed. I can really, really get down. Whereas the introverts, which is the other 99.9% of my family, they're energized by being alone. So being around people can drain them. And then you have social introverts, and it just kind of, the list goes on. But that can determine whether or not people want to work relationally or such as well. I once heard a description at a conference that was really cool. We've all heard men are from Mars, women are from Venus or something. We all speak different languages. And I heard that described it even a better picture for me is that boys or men are like waffles and girls are like spaghetti. Okay? And you're laughing. It makes sense, right? Guys are more compartmentalized. Girls are just, everything's all interconnected. How many, okay, this is where I have to ask. Has anybody ever not had a waffle? Everybody had a waffle, okay. Has anybody ever not poured syrup in one little block and watched how it didn't cross over to the other blocks, and then you put like a few in the corner and then the other side is still dry, right? How many of us have also gone and had spaghetti and tried to pull a piece of spaghetti out, because the bottom's dry at first, right, till you mix it all up. Tried to pull a piece of spaghetti out and it stayed without sauce. It doesn't, not typically. Typically it brings at least some sauce with it. Everything's all intertwined, everything's connected. So guys, they tend to, there's exceptions to every rule, I'm not gonna generalize, but for the most part, men have compartments and they have those little boxes. And women, everything's interconnected, and put it into place where women are a lot more social, guys do more independent. That's kind of what we're dealing with. Here's another thing. How often do we see men go to bathroom as a pack? Right? How many of us of women have gone as a pack? Come on, be serious. We've all gone as a pack, right? Okay. Have you ever seen guys do it? They're like, dude, I don't want to know. That's not a little TMI. I don't want that. Or what about women who live together and their hormones tend to intertwine, or they're really close and their cycles tend to be around the same time? What is up with that? It's like, wait a minute. Of course, maybe there's something to it, because then you would have hormonal people all month, so maybe it's nice. But that 1 week out of the month, oh my gosh. My theory is one of the reasons in the Old Testament that they had people, that they sent the women off during the unclean cycles because they couldn't deal with their hormones. That's what I think, that's the real reason I think they did that. In my practice, I hear many women complain that their husbands aren't very sensitive. And then I hear a lot of men complain that their wives are too involved with their friends. Have you all heard that before? Yeah, have you been told that? You're too involved with your friends, why don't you just stay home? Why do you let your friends bother you? Why are you involved with their drama? Heard that? And yeah, okay. And the waffles and spaghetti picture does a great job of explaining that one. For women, their friends are like family to them, okay? The whole spaghetti concept, they're all intertwined, they're all connected. We care, we're loving, not that guys aren't loving, but it's the different little waffles thing. We attach to someone so intricately that sometimes it's really difficult to determine the difference between their opinions and their interests and our own, right? It's really difficult sometimes. Have you been with groups of people, a group of friends, or even one or two friends, where all of a sudden you find that you start liking the same stuff? You go to the same movies, where a year ago you would be doing different movies and different activities, and you just kind of meld. And then before you know it, at some point you realize that you're doing things that you wouldn't have done before. Does that make sense? Let's see, then what happens when somebody begins to feel differently about something? So you're really tight, really connected with this person. You start feeling very, very differently. Somebody travels down a different life path. They just kind of go off and do their thing. What about when a friend starts doing something that's different at a foundational level? They were a very strong Christian before, or they didn't go hang out at bars, or just different things that our gut is saying, I don't know, that's not right, I don't know about this just kind of feels wrong. But you kind of go along with it. Or you think, maybe I don't want to go along with that, and then that friend starts feeling judged. Because, well, we used to do all these things together, but now you're going to judge everything that I do. What about the friend starts dating somebody you disagree with, or you find yourself agreeing more with their partner, their husband, their boyfriend, instead of your friend? That can cause conflict. You're supposed to take my side, you're not supposed to take his side. What about when your friend disagrees with your stance and takes the other side? Well, it's hard to realize and hard to figure out. When it happens, we often, how many of you guys saw the video, the advertising of this and kind of promoting this? Did you guys all see that? And you saw me in the chair kind of doing this whole little thing? That was crazy. I couldn't believe she put that on there. Anyway, but sometimes we find ourselves spinning around and feeling hurt, very frustrated, even betrayed, confused. Then it's helpful to pull a viewfinder back. And if any of my clients in my business, they hear me say this a lot, pull a viewfinder back and really just take a look. Look at the boundaries. Kind of step outside and outside the perspective and look at the situation from a healthier view. All right? When I think about boundaries, I visualize a house. Okay? So So I visualize this house, and of course I think back in the Ozzie and Harriet days, right, where there was a little picket fence, and then some people, and there's a sidewalk up at the front, there's a porch, and then you have the house with the doorbell, and some people, they're allowed to go to the gate with the little bell at the end, right? They're allowed to ring the bell, but they're not allowed to come on in. Some people are allowed to come on in the yard, but they're not allowed to come in the house. Some people are allowed to come to the door where they ring the doorbell. We're sitting on the porch. You're not coming into my house. Some people are allowed, just different places in your house, different levels. They can come in the living room, they can come in the kitchen, some people in the bedroom. Just depends on the connection that you have with that person and how trusting you are, how safe it is, all right? Here's another way of looking at it. You guys all have, you ladies all have paper and pens. So I'm gonna have you all grab one, all right? And I'm gonna have you draw something as well. Okay? This is where we're gonna kind of get another visual of boundaries, all right? So I should draw a circle and say me is kind of in the middle, all right? This is, anything in here is you. These are things, is there anybody in the world that you tell every single thing to? Every single thing. Is there anybody? Because there's things, you tell somebody every single thing, every deepest, darkest secret, everything? Okay, cool. Then that person, whoever that is, would be in the circle with you. All right, so put that person's name. Draw another circle outside here. And another circle. And another one. Say, where's your spouse or your partner? Okay, is that person here? Or is this here? It depends on the status of your relationship. Right? If they're safe, if they're not safe. Where are your children? So, children, are they here? Are they in here? Where are your parents? So kind of label where in here, right? Put their names and kind of identify your bestest friend in the whole world. Where's your best friend? Best friend. You may have a few really close friends, and some of them may be here, some may be kind of here. Sometimes they may be right here. It just kind of depends. Does that visual kind of help a little bit, kind of explain? It gives us a picture. Because if somebody who has hurt you, think about the people that have hurt you, and that are kind of going on, and every time you think about them, you kind of get this feeling. Take a look and see, is that person here that you're telling them too much, you're letting them into your bedroom of your house, as opposed to maybe they need to be, excuse me, maybe they need to be standing out on the porch. So it just kind of depends. I recently had a friend who I loved like a sister for many, many years. We were very close, did everything together, you know. We ups and downs, young marrieds together, raised our kids together, went through divorces together, traveled together, just a ton of different stuff. Dedicated our kids to the Lord together. We went to church together at different times, closer than best friends. We were so connected. We were more like sisters, okay? As the years progressed, we found ourselves on different sides from various situations. Ultimately, the relationship was ended via a private Facebook conversation. Don't you love those? I offered to kind of have it face-to-face, and she refused, and she said, no, I'm not interested in that. I said, okay, well, that's your call. It's your boundary, I'm going to respect that, right? I've seen her once since then, and it was so awkward. I went, wait a minute, this is the same person that I had this we wore the same. We would show up at things and wear the exact same outfit. Not planned, we were just so interconnected, so tied together. We'd wear the same color, we'd have the same view, we'd call each other and just know. When her mom passed away, she talked to her family and our children and such, called a best friend, and then she called me. Bam, bam. I mean, just, okay, here we go. There was a time when she was inside my very inner circle. So perhaps she was here. I would say probably she was here. Just right there in the very middle. But I always knew. See, friends came and went through the years. You know, we'd have times when we kind of weren't together a lot, but we always came back together. We always had that relationship. I always knew she had my back, and she always knew that I had mine. And to some degree, I think we still do. We'll see. I mean, God's in charge of that. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity, or a sister is born for adversity, right? So we have those. We have those people. Boundaries were probably indefinite for a friendship to have been healthier. When I think about boundaries, I think about several of my relationships that the boundaries were a bit skewed, and wonder if that contributed to one of us feeling violated, or that the other one was standing in a different room in the house than they should have, or a different circle than was desired or what was healthy. Marriages break up when boundaries aren't respected. Friendships end. People feel hurt, they feel violated. Boundaries are a big deal. I mean, we hear that often about boundaries. And when, it's not really, sadly, it's not a surprise that when I asked if you guys all knew what boundaries were, that you didn't. So because we don't talk about it enough, we don't describe it, we don't explain it, so we know where we need to sit. A few months ago, Katie Payne talked about the 5 love languages. Were any of you here when she talked about that? The 5 love languages? It was a book by Dr. Gary Chapman. It's absolutely incredible and amazing. She encouraged women to go online to the 5 love languages quiz, take it and kind of see where your love languages stand. The 5 love languages are, so we have, and I would encourage you to write these down. So quality time. We have physical touch. Words of affirmation. Acts of service. And receiving gifts. How many of you know your love languages? Have you ever heard of it? Are you familiar with it at all? Okay. Physical touch. I'm going to talk about it a little bit because a lot of people didn't really know. Physical touch is not only sex, okay? It's simply a touch. That person in your life who loves to sit by you, snuggle with you. Do you have one of those children that no matter what, right here? Doesn't matter whether they're really little or whether they're young adults, they're the ones that'll just come sit on your lap. Doesn't matter. The person when you walk by, they're the ones who's just rubbing your back. Physical touch is one of mine, and my fellow choir members know, because if they ever stand near me, they end up with their back getting rubbed while they're up there. Just kind of, and I warn them, hey, heads up. Angela's sitting there going, yep. It's physical touch. We think it's one thing, but let's expand. It's even more than that. Quality time is the one who just wants to be with you. He or she will go to boring errands. They'll just kind of hang out, just be. They'll help you with chores. They'll just want to sit on the couch. They'll just want to be, that you took the time with them, that you wanted to be with them, okay? Words of affirmation, they're positive, encouraging words, validating words, affirming, telling them, hey, this was really great, you did this, and sincere. Not just, oh yeah, great job. Yeah, okay, yeah, right, all right. No, that really affirming and validating and encouraging that person. People with that love language are just, that they soak it all up. They're just like, oh, really? Okay. Because they'll question a lot. Receiving gifts is the child who gives the mom the dandelion. They come out, look, Mommy, it's a flower. And the mom very nicely and sweetly just cherishes it. And then she puts it in a little bowl or in the little glass and just cherishes it, holds it. Sometimes I've even heard of moms that save them because he gave that to me when he was 2. It was really cool. They cherish those. They'll go and they'll look for just the right gift. They'll find just the right thing. Let's see, or the person, even if it's from the dollar store, it's okay. The person that's the receiving gifts person, even if it's from a dollar store, it could be $1,000. It could have cost $1, but it's just the same as if it would have been a $1,000 gift. It just means the world, makes their heart smile. Acts of service. These people are really cool to know. They'll come to your house and they'll just clean up just to show you they love you. You'll come home and the dinner will be cooked. You'll come home, the kitchen will be cleaned, your lawn will be mowed, any of this kind of stuff. And just because they want to show you that they love you. It's the spouse or the child that'll take your car and get it washed and detailed, get the oil changed, any of that, just to save you, just to say I love you. We talk about these languages often, but what we don't recognize is that they also reveal how we feel the hurt the deepest. Have you ever put that together? Has anybody ever, those of you who talked about identifying love languages that are familiar with that, have you realized that those are the ones that, your love languages are the ones that you feel the hurt the most? Okay. The words of affirmation person is the one who'll hear, you know what, you did really great, but you could have practiced more. Or they'll say, yeah, that was okay, but you certainly said a lot. Or, yeah, you kind of have put on a little bit of weight. Or, you know, dinner was great. What'd you do different? Let's not do that next time. And sometimes it may be constructive criticism, but the words of affirmation person hears at a whole other level. They hear it very deep and dark because they're looking for the affirmations. Physical touch. If your parents believed in spanking, how many of you parents had parents that believed in spanking? Okay. If you are one of those and your love language is physical touch, when your parents spanked you, the world came to a screeching end for that child. I have two kids, and one of them, their top language is physical touch, and the other one is quality time, I believe. The one whose language is quality time, I could spank him, that's fine. He'd learn and off he'd move. My other one, the world came to an end. I was hurting her, I was hitting her. It wasn't discipline, it was harm to her. So she didn't get many spankings. She's like, yeah, okay. So the child who screamed, like real crocodile tears. I mean, we're talking, they're not just, you spanked me, but no, literally heartfelt, the whole thing. Have you ever done somebody a favor, like cleaning their kitchen, set up for a party, cook dinner, whichever, and the person critiques it, right? Tells you what could have been done better. The acts of service person is slayed, just slayed by that. They did that out of love and as a sign and a gift of their affection, but it was thrown in their face. It's how they felt. You may not have meant it. You probably didn't mean it that way, but that's how they heard it. What about gifts? All right. Have you ever given somebody a gift and you go to their yard sale a few years later and found it in there, right? Ouch! Or you make something for them and you put time and energy and effort and you go to their house 6 months or a year later and it's sitting collecting dust somewhere, right? Ow! I put all my time and energy and everything into this and it didn't work. You just kind of shut it off, or they re-gifted it. Oh my gosh. When the friendship with my friend started feeling more hurtful, okay, then joyful. Even though the love had not and has not on my end changed, I still adore her. I had a realization. I've always known that my top love language is words of affirmation. I always knew that. Everybody who knows me kind of knows that. They figured that out. And then there's the physical touch part. Great. So I had it down. Physical touch, words of affirmation were good. Then I started noticing if people cancel appointments, or they make a scheduled time to have coffee with me, or we'd go out and have movies, or just hang out, just be together. They'd either be too busy, not take the time, or they would the last minute, choose to go hang out with others instead of me. Has that ever happened to you? Please tell me I'm not the only one that happens to. Okay, when that happens, I started realizing I did what I was saying is I pulled the viewfinder back and I said, all right, let me take a look. Let me see kind of where that's at. I took a look and realized, you know what? This is a pattern. If this happens with people, my feelings are hurt. I realized that one of my top love languages is quality time. So she didn't know it. She had no idea that that was it. But that's why it was hurting so badly when we started kind of pulling apart. She didn't want to spend time with me. That's the quality time piece. I won't go into more of the love languages. That's a whole hour-long thing on itself that we could do. But I will say it plays a huge role in these relationships, right? Because if somebody loves you in your love language and loves you a lot in your love language, you're able to put them a lot closer to your middle, okay? And really take a look, where in my house am I going to let them, okay? What about people in our lives who always seem to have power or control over us, right? If we think differently than them, is that okay? If our choice for president, all right, now there's a hot topic right now. If our choice for president is different than theirs, is that okay? Or do they want to control what we do, what we think, what we feel? Pull the viewfinder back in those relationships and see, is that healthy? Is that not healthy? Are you being hurt by your love language? Are your boundaries where they need to be or not? In Proverbs, iron sharpens iron, and one man or woman sharpens another. Is this person sharpening you? Because we don't want that person that says, yeah, oh, great job, great, oh no. Because we need the constructive criticism. We need that. We need that person to sharpen us. That's a great person to have. We need to pull back and make sure it's a healthy person to have. That's a big deal. Are these relationships that attack your love language, that attack you to your very core? Are they knocking you down, or are they building you up? A healthy relationship is this, we talked about what all hurts, right? A healthy relationship is one that's equal, that there's mutual love and respect. When I learned about the love languages, probably 20 years ago, it changed my relationships with people. Because I look at folks and I wonder, okay, what's their love language? How's that work? What's the deal with that? How can I love them the best? And how can I not hurt them? With a healthy relationship, there's mutual love and respect, one that shows each is cared for and recognized, allowed to be different or the same. 5 signs of an emotionally abusive relationship, okay? And I say relationships, again, it can be romantic relationships, it can be with friends, family, different ones. You walk around eggshells to avoid upsetting this person, right? Your friends and opinions are rarely validated. Your partner or the friend, okay, is mistrustful of you for no reason. You feel like you're unable to discuss problems in the relationship. You feel stuck or confused most of the time. Have you ever had those? Yeah, okay. Whereas a healthy relationship, there's negotiation and fairness. I found this little wheel, actually, my best friend actually found this wheel, which is kind of nice. She was helping me out. Negotiation and fairness. Non-threatening behavior. Either you did this or we're not going to be friends anymore. Or I'm going to kick you out of the group. You can't go in a pack to the bathroom with me anymore. Respect. So listen to each other, even if you disagree. It's okay. It's okay to disagree. God made us all differently. There's 3 women live in our house. I bet that's fun, huh? 2 of them are menopausal and one's 20. Makes it fun living in our house at times. We're not going to all agree, and we don't all agree on a lot of things. We listen to each other without judgment. At least we try to. Trust and support somebody. Trust and support them. Encourage them. Figure out why they think what they think. That's a healthy relationship. That's an equal relationship. Honesty and accountability. That person that says, Laura, I don't know that that's a great place for you to be. You make whatever decision you want to make, but I don't think that's necessarily a great idea. Okay, let's talk about it. Responsibility, you share it. One person doesn't take on all of it. Okay? Economic partnership, one person doesn't pay all the time. And some of that's due to kind of husbands and wives and that kind of thing, but it counts, right? I've spoken mostly on friendships tonight, but these can apply to, like I said before, to all relationships, to your husband, your children, your parents, etc. Even God showed boundaries. Have you ever put that together? Even God showed boundaries? When he set up on the seventh day he rested. He set boundaries with the 10 Commandments. He set the boundaries. Christ set boundaries when he was here. And if we're to model after them, right, Christ would just disappear. It was too much. He had to kind of get away. He needed to go spend time with his Father. He would take his time and go when they were calling for him. It's okay for us to set boundaries. As women, part of that relational thing and that spaghetti piece, we feel like we need to help everybody and step in and save them. But they need me. Well, hold on. You need you. And you need you healthy. So saying no, even to the quality time person, is okay. It's all right. If we're going to follow God and Christ's lead. If you're like me, you might be afraid of making this move to set boundaries. Okay? When I first heard about boundaries, I'm like, what in the world? And I was well into my adulthood before I learned what boundaries were. You might be afraid of making a move to set it. You're afraid of losing relationships, afraid of hurting people's feelings. As we journey to find how God wants us to flourish, setting boundaries, getting to know God and who God created us to be are all wonderful ways to start. With these new tools and skills, you'll be able to start growing vigorously in a favorable environment and flourish. Okay? Give it a try. You are worth it. You're worth it. You're worth setting boundaries. When you set them, you'll start realizing that. You'll start feeling things a whole lot more. Okay? God's got it. God's got it. He's going to take care of these relationships. He is. He's going to take care of you, but we have to let him. Okay? So, now that we're done kind of all deep and me preaching at you, we're going to take about 5 minutes, okay? And everybody kind of run to the restroom, whatever. Stick around, don't leave. I'm really excited. Maybe Berenger's going to teach us about yoga faith. So we're going to take a break, stretch our legs, go to the restroom, and we'll do that. Before we do, I'm going to pray real quick, okay? Dear Lord, thank you so much for the ladies who came tonight. Thank you for the words that you had them hear. Lord, take whatever it was that they heard and use it for your purpose. God, please aid them, help them as they learn to identify where boundaries need to be set, God. Please be with them as they move relationships around in a more healthy way and where you would like them to be. Lord, please take this opportunity, this time, to help them learn their love languages, how to identify how they feel hurt, why this affects relationships. God, help them flourish. Help them grow vigorously in a favorable environment, Lord, as you want for them. In Christ's name, amen.